My focus was stolen, and if you're watching this video, there's probably a high chance that yours has been too. I became aware of this issue recently when I noticed just how bad some of my phone habits had become. I'd pick up my phone to look something up, and then after putting it down, I'd realise that moments later, my phone was back in my hand again, without me even really knowing it. It was recently reading Johann Hari's book, Stolen Focus, that I became aware that there are steps that we can do to try and bring our focus back under control. In this video, I want to share the 3 changes I've made that have started to give me back control of my focus. The general premise of Stolen Focus is to outline how there's an ongoing attention crisis. Something that I really loved about this book is how it doesn't sugarcoat some of the challenges ahead of us. On some levels, we can take individual action to make change, but on others, a larger collective action will be required to try and regain some of our focus. Something else which resonated with me was just around creativity. I've definitely noticed in recent years that my creativity has waned, and I often put that down to technology. In this book, it makes it very clear that some of the factors at play will impact our creativity, and it's about trying to work without technology and work around some of those distractions to regain some of that creative power. And then finally, it's understanding that not everything is around self-control. Some of the powers at play are way too large for any one of us to control. So that's where the collective action will come in the future. In Stolen Focus, Hari talks about the 12 causes of our attention crisis. Now, I'm not going to talk about all 12, but what I want to do is talk about the 3 that stood out to me. And that was because, whilst I might not think about them at first being linked to attention, as I read through the book, it made more and more sense why these 3 are extremely important. So first up is our diets. The more processed food we eat, the harder it is to focus. Then stress. When we're constantly anxious, our brains stay in survival mode. And then finally, it's about the environment the next generation grow up in. We're confining kids more than ever before, both mentally and physically, and that's shaping how they develop attention. It was eye-opening to realise that it's not just about technology and devices that impact our ability to stay focused. It's about the whole environment we're building around ourselves. Let's move on to the 3 biggest things that can help us regain our focus. The first change that we can make is slowing down and working more deeply. Information can come at us faster than ever before, so it's really important that we choose what task we want to work on and focus in on that, rather than attempting to multitask. I know that feeling when I'm trying to write an important email and I'm allowing my messages to come in, which always take me longer to finish the email than if I just zoned out those messages. The way to get around this is monotasking. This is just focusing on one task for say 15 minutes and then have a moment when you can open yourself up to distractions. Then we go back to monotasking. Start with 15 minutes and then try and build that up over time, going on to 20, maybe even 30 minutes before you give yourself a short break. The second change we can make is trying to focus on reclaiming our flow state. Flow is that amazing type of work when you feel like everything is flowing through you and you could go on and on forever. Some people even liken this to a Superman style effect. The key with flow though is that we don't get distracted, because as soon as you are, you come out of a flow state. What I like to do is put my devices into Do Not Disturb and ensure that I'm focused on one task which is pushing me just beyond my comfort zone. If we can combine those 2 things, we're more likely to achieve flow and actually enjoy the work that we're doing. Before we get on to the third change that we can all be making to try and improve our focus, I want to talk about the bigger picture issues that Hari mentions throughout this book. As much as we may all be told that it's about self-control, the truth is there are companies now who are all trying to work to take our attention in their direction. The reason they do this is down to money. The longer we look their way or the more we spend on their products, the more money and the more profit they're likely to make. And that's why sometimes companies aren't making decisions that are in our interests, but actually they're in their interests. Understanding that really helped me come to terms with some of the challenges I face, whether it's with my technology, junk food, or other areas of my life where I feel distracted. Hopefully, having that understanding that it's not all on you will help you too. And now for the third and final change that we can all look to make to regain our focus. And that's about being kinder to ourselves, to use more positive language in understanding that this isn't all about self-control. As the bigger picture issue shows, there's thousands of engineers and product marketers who are all working to try and draw your attention in their direction. Once you understand that, it's easier to try and frame this as a challenge that we can overcome. Firstly, it's about collective action, working with other people to see if we can make legislative change. But then when it comes to an individual change we can make, look at things like our do not disturb features to see if we can minimize distractions. The next time you want to use your phone, see if you can delay that by 5 minutes. It's all about those small steps combined with a wider collective action to actually fully regain our control for the future. So, here's a quick recap of the 3 changes that we can all look to make to try and regain our focus. Firstly, it's about slowing down and trying to work more deeply. Then, let's look at the strategies for getting into our flow state as much as possible. And finally, being kinder to ourselves. I think this helps when we understand the bigger factors at play trying to draw our attention away from us. If this topic's resonated with you, I definitely recommend that you pick yourself up a copy of Stolen Focus. Also, if you have thoughts and strategies around this, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. So please like and subscribe to this channel.